General election 2015. They're all the same. Clegg, Cameron, Miliband, Farage, they're all the same. What brand of capitalism do you want? Do you want capitalism that's red coloured? Do you want capitalism that's blue coloured? Or do you want capitalism that's yellow coloured? It's an empty question. You know, they got no relevance. There's got no relevance. How is it even possible? You know, you're supposed to have the Conservatives on the right and Labour on the left and the Lib Dems in the centre ground. The Lib Dems are more Labour, they're more liberal than Labour. How's that even possible? You know, the Labour's supposed to be the social justice party. It's just ridiculous. You know, the Greens are surging right now. And, you know, you think, oh, there's going to be you know, the future's bright. We got the Greens, you know, they care about social justice. And, you know, they got more members than UKIP now. They got more members than Lib Dems. And then Labour come out and say, well, you can't vote for the Greens because you're going to let the Tories in by the back door. You're taking away, you know, the Labour vote is the only thing stopping the Tories from just having a straight majority government and being able to do what the fuck they like. So we've basically got to vote for Labour to stop the Lib Dems getting in. If you vote for anyone else, no, don't try and vote for a progressive party. Because if you vote for anyone else but Labour, you might as well just vote Tory, is what they're trying to say. You know, that's like, so basically, you know, you're saying we don't want Labour because, you know, they're a little bit nice. We don't want the Tories, we'd rather have Labour because they're a little bit nicer than the Conservative Party. That's like, what? You got a choice of anyone you want to run your country. It's a democracy. It's an open democracy. You can have anyone you want to run your country. Anyone. Are you going to pick the best? The second best? The third best party to run your country? No. You got to vote for the second least worst party. Because it'll stop the worst party getting in. That's the logic of our times. That's the logic of our political climate. It makes no sense. You've got the second shittest party ever conceived. A slightly better than the shittest party ever conceived. So we'll vote for them. So red capitalism it is. I'll have to vote tactically because, you know, although I do love the environment and the air we breathe and fresh water and, you know, that doesn't really matter because capitalism, basically, forget all those things. Money's more important. You know, I just don't understand what's gone wrong. We need an electoral reform. You know, pretty much every person I talk to who wants to vote, you know, who has this left-wing like feelings, revolutionary feelings, you know, they say, well, you know, I've got to vote tactically in my area. You know, it depends who's winning. Who's winning, you know, if the Tories are winning by a huge majority, okay, I'll vote Green. But if it's neck and neck, I've got to vote Labour, even though they are just slightly less cunty than the Conservatives. That's the only difference. You know, they got so many people tricked. It's an absolute conundrum, you know. The reason people think, you know, the ballot box is the ultimate form of democracy. But, you know, that's where they're wrong. That's how this country's gone wrong. That's how politics has got wrong. You know, ballot box isn't the end of democracy. The ballot box is where democracy begins. Voting is the bare minimum you can do. That is the bare minimum you can do, is vote once every 4 or 5 years. Whereas the maximum you can do is join a party, canvass for a party, campaign for a party, join protest movements. You know, that's democracy. You know, getting your voice heard. You know, actually taking part in it. But, you know, the ballot box, it's not going to solve everything, but it can go a hell of a long way. Because if we're going to have a revolution in this country, and we've got to vote against we've got to fight against a majority elected government that's against us, then we're going to have a lot harder time than it is if we've got a handful of Green MPs and, you know, some Labour defect to Green. You know, we'll have a handful of people on our side then, if we ever get close to anywhere near having a revolution in this country, a democratic revolution. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, yesterday on the news at 10, I watched, they started off with a story about how the Greek economic minister has basically given the IMF and the World Bank and the European Central Bank the finger. He's basically said, do one, go away, we don't want your debt and all the conditions anymore. And, you know, the people are liberated, you know, public spending's going up, pensions are increased, they're rehiring people back in the public sector. You know, they're doing all these wonderful things. They've basically told austerity, good night. So that story's on the BBC, and then they cut, and the next story on the BBC is David Cameron saying how the maximum they'll do is not cut education for our children per head. The maximum they'll do is not cut it, and that's not even in line with inflation. So technically, they will cut it. That's the maximum. You know, he's saying David Cameron saying that, like, you know, we won't cut education. That's not something you should celebrate. That's the bare minimum. We should be pumping more money into education. You know, there's no point trying to make, you know, having an educated youth is good for our society. It's good for everyone. It's good for our country. You know, there's no point cutting back, trying to make savings on something that's good for the country like that, is there? And I just thought, you know, when are people going to wake up? You know, Greece have said no to austerity, yet we're still living on it. We're richer than Greece. We're the 6th richest country. You know, we weren't anywhere near as bad as Greece, and they've managed to write off their fuckload of debt and say no to all their austerity. We're richer than, have we got more debt than Greece? Probably because we're richer, but, you know, we're a more powerful country than Greece. Shouldn't we be able to say to people, can we not just say, get out? We don't, you know, why are people starving, you know, in the streets, yeah? Where do they get this money from? Where's this debt come from? They just press a button on a machine and a bank says, there you go, there's £10 billion for you, George Osborne, so now you owe us that money. It's not like we work for it, we just pressed a button on a machine. It's like digital, it's not even real. And, you know, people are starving, dying, you know, old people are freezing to death in their homes. You know, hospital beds are full, children aren't getting educated, you know, they're persecuting minorities. They won't even let fucking migrants come in here from Syria, who are in the country we fucked up. They won't even let them, they let like 200 immigrants in, they won't let the other like 6 million in. Because we ain't got any money, because of this made up thing and a machine in some people's heads for this like fake religion. What is it? It's just nothing. It's just it's a piece of paper. You don't have to completely halt your entire fucking life for it. And that is why, you know, we need someone other than the 4 main parties. You can have capitalism A, you can have capitalism B, you can have capitalism C, or you can have capitalism D. I don't want any of those capitalisms. Wise up and rise up.